Yesterday, Sky Sports really had to talk to David Beckham, and some of the huge questions was asked about was about the Qatari takeover at Manchester United. And we're here to bring exactly what David Beckham had to say on the night. So, welcome to United Matters channel. We're talking Eric Ten Hag, United consistency charge. He wants to see to it that we obviously go on a run of games when we've gone ahead to obviously not lose any of those, because he believes that we have the quality and capability to take us to where we deserve to be as the club of Manchester United. Scott McTominay, Bruno Fernandes have something to say about yesterday's dramatic win over the side of Brentford at Old Trafford. So let's see close to 200 likes match this video. Don't forget to subscribe if you're only watching us for the very first time, so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. It's all about a Sunday, and we've decided to come and talk to you live after recording the player ratings. We said at least we should obviously speak to the people of this channel that we're watching through on a daily. Not so you guys obviously great, and we obviously thank the Lord God for the gift of life, and for the Muslims I think the rewards all go to Allah. Not so. Hope you are really ready to obviously take this to the next level as we kickstart it off like this. Now, we all know that the takeover is obviously one of those things that are really looming around Old Trafford. It's bubbling like something is going to happen at Old Trafford, and as we are told that October and November might be the right months for the Glazers to obviously find a right owner or a right person to obviously sell the club to, as Sir Jim Ratcliffe is planning to obviously buy a minority stake to see to it that he keeps himself at the club of Manchester United. That is it. Now, David Beckham was one of those that was obviously went ahead to really answer a question coming in from a Sky Sports interviewer, and he said, "I believe I know the right people to take Manchester United back to the top." The interviewer said, he asked, "Could that be Sheikh Jassim Al-Thani?" David Beckham smiles and we will see it, and said, "We will see." Now, everyone who knows David Beckham and the Qataris, we know that they are really having what we call a huge chemistry in between these. You saw to it that David Beckham was really so much pivotal in the World Cup that was really played in Qatar, and he was one of the influences that Qatar used to obviously put the name of Qatar back to where it deserves to be, because these are countries coming in from Asia, especially the Arab world. They associated so much onto terrorism, and they are trying to obviously bring football into the picture to obviously cleanse their image in the public eye, because this is what we grew up knowing. You saw to it that all movies that we've been watching and seeing when you're still young, it's those people from the Arab world that are really labeled as terrorists, you know. So they want to obviously change their image, and it was so much used to obviously be there. And David Beckham and Qataris, the Qatar Sports Investment Authority, are really close, like a nose and the mouth. You get? So they are really close that they obviously want to see stuff happening at the club of Manchester United, and they obviously call in for lots of things to be happening. So David Beckham says we will see and smiles, showing that he knows exactly what is happening at the Qatari side and Manchester United. That is it. Secondly, David Beckham is really a legend that Qataris can use to obviously convince the fans that he is the right person that they are the right people to take over the club of Man United. We all know that stories were obviously put up that Sheikh Jassim Al-Thani and Sir Jim Ratcliffe are obviously using the former United players to obviously influence the takeover. That is it. And we've seen it vividly that Rio Ferdinand came out and obviously told us that tomorrow, I think, when was it? I think around March, that a huge update is going to be given, and we waited for the huge update. It was not obviously given, you know. Now David Beckham, it's all known that he's on the side of the Qataris. That is it. He's on the side of the Qataris and believes that they should be doing and take over this club of Manchester United. And this saga is really taking long to obviously get it sorted, because the Glazers believe they want £6 billion. And Sheikh Jassim Al-Thani came out and said we are not going to add any coin to the side of Manchester United. We are obviously going to go our way. 5.5 billion pounds maximum amount of money, that's what we can give you. And the Glazers want 6 billion pounds. The Glazers are saying we are not getting you this amount of money. So as it stands, I understand what this is all about, but I can confirm to you that the club of Man United is going to get sold. The Glazers cannot sustain this. However much they get a minority stake from Sir Jim Ratcliffe, it cannot really equal to what this club really needs. 2 billion pounds are needed to build a new stadium. If he's renovating Old Trafford, that is 1.1 billion pounds, you know. And can he go and bring in a minority stake for that amount of money? And with the Glazers and the siblings of other Glazers really welcome that let's obviously find ourselves in a position of really taking this to the next level and really wait in until 2-3 years to come and really get in like 7 billion pounds or 10 billion pounds, because we all believe that if United goes back to its winning stretch, the stature of the bid that will be requested by the Glazers will be between 7 and 10 billion pounds, you know. Can they obviously be in bed with Sir Jim Ratcliffe wanting to obviously reach that level? That is the huge question that you're waiting for. But David Beckham is really working tooth and nail for the Qataris to take over the club of Manchester United. Then he also went ahead and obviously told us about the takeover saga to be decided. David Beckham, on the need for United takeover saga to be decided, he said, for the club, for the fans, for the players, and for the manager as well, because we are one of the biggest clubs in the world, and we want stability, and that's the most important thing. Now, Beckham really has a point in what he's saying. That's why I really look at everyone who is really calling in Ten Hag out as a very naive person as far as the game of football is really concerned. You can't say Ten Hag out when the problem is the Glazers. The problem at Man United are the people on top. Let no one lie to you. And when you see someone attacking Erik Ten Hag, that is really out. Let me show you why the people on the top are really the problem at Man United. Let me take you back. The short list of players that Erik Ten Hag wanted when coming in at Man United were as follows. Frankie de Jong. He wanted Julian Timber. He wanted Darwin Núñez. Who else? I think those three. He never got any of those, right? It shows you where it really got spoiled from. This summer, he wanted Declan Rice. He wanted Harry Kane. He wanted Kim Min-jae, and he never got any of those. You get? So, all what he had to use is the plan B that was available and what the club could meet. But the club of Manchester United is really keeping very many players because they don't want to obviously make losses. They are still paying money of these players for their transfers, and they feel like it does not obviously give them the best of the commercial product if at all they really sell these players. One like Harry Maguire, you know, the reason they never wanted to sell Harry Maguire to West Ham is because he's an asset to the club, and if at all they sell him, there will be need to get another player. Yet they obviously want to accomplish that 80 million pound cash out they made to Crystal Palace. Sorry, they made to Leicester City to sign Harry Maguire. Look at Jadon Sancho. So they're having very many players. Scott McTominay of this where they don't want to sell them because they believe it's a business. But if at all you get in a person like Qatari, he'll obviously tell Erik Ten Hag, who do you want, who do you don't want, because they'll want to give the manager what he wants, and then if at all he fails, they won't have an excuse to give to the board. But right now, even if a manager is going to hate to fail, we won't get to know whether the manager is going to hate to fail, because we know to it that he has not been backed as he wanted, and Ten Hag is trying to perform miracles game in, game out, all season in, season out. And the problem are the Glazers. And David Beckham is going to hate to address it that for the good of the fans, for the good of the team, for the good of the players, for the good of the working staff at Old Trafford and Carrington, for the good of the fans. We need this sorted as soon as possible. If it doesn't get sorted, then you're obviously going to have a very huge problem. That is it. We are going to have a very huge problem if this doesn't get sorted, because we need to know whether the Glazers are still selling the club or not. And the Glazers obviously know to it that if at all they don't sell the club, people are going to come out and obviously show up and obviously throw themselves onto that pitch and call for their sacking. That is it. And this is something we wouldn't like at the club of Manchester United. That is it. The big problem at Man United are the Glazers. They are the Glazers. That is it. They are the Glazers because they own this club. They have what we call incompetent people like Richard Arnold, Darren Fletcher, John Mata. That's why they want to get in a new footballing director that has some good experience. And they are going into Atletico Madrid to try to get the service of that guy. Now, let's start it off. And let me try to read some of your chats here into the live chat, or your comments in the live chat. Kugonza Edison, really tired of the Glazers. They are the problem, by the way, and we all know that the problem is on the top. Even when Gary Neville used to come out and obviously attack the managers and really back the Glazers, but this time round, he has said the Glazers are really the problem and we need them out. Mirembe Shalom, we love you, bro. I'm Amon Brown from Uganda, though I'm using some other account. Thank you very much for watching through. Mirembe Shalom. Agaba William, Ugandan from Doha, Qatar, working with Sheikh Jassim. All right, that's really great. Agaba William, Glazers should go, but also Ten Hag is a problem. Favoritism and egoistic. Now, before you obviously talk about Eric Ten Hag leaving, there is one who is supposed to leave first. Because this is a person that's going to hate to obviously sack David Moyes, Louis van Gaal, Jose Mourinho, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And we've not gone ahead to get different results ever since those have gone ahead to be sacked. If they sacked any of those and they brought in a manager that's gone ahead to really win a Champions League or a Premier League, we're going ahead to say that they got it right. But they are the problem. If you keep sacking people and you keep getting different and keep getting the same results, that means you, the boss, you are the problem, and you need to rectify certain things at the club of Man United. If Ten Hag is the problem, for me, all I want is simple. Back Eric Ten Hag with what he wants. If he doesn't put out results, sack him. That's why for me, I liked the former owner of Chelsea, that is Roman Abramovich. He used to get the manager everything he requested. You know, every player, he gets you the player that you want. He gets you every person you want. At the end of the season, he'll demand for results. If you don't get results, he gives you a sack. That's the manager, that's the owner we want. I don't want us to sack a manager. Like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer came out and said, we would have gone ahead to sign Erling Haaland. I wanted Declan Rice. I wanted so and so. I never got them at the club of Man United. Because every manager that leaves obviously says, I'm having problems with the board. Look, Louis van Gaal never wanted Falcao. You get? He never wanted Angel Di Maria. These were signings of the board. Ed Woodward in particular went ahead and signed Angel Di Maria and Falcao at Manchester United. So, if you have to look through everything that they are saying, it's 100% right. They are being told to really coach a set of players they never wanted to obviously sell. Do you know the cause of this? It's because you're not having a sporting director who will obviously create a philosophy, you know, because the CEO will obviously give a sporting director the job, and the sporting director will be able to identify the right people to work with at the club of Manchester United. He will be responsible for every player that comes in, for every technical person that comes in when it comes to the sporting culture of the club, and set a philosophy. Now, if you had a philosophy built at Man United and having a technical director who is not naive, like John Mata, things would have gone ahead to happen on well at the club of Man United, and even the owners wouldn't have gone ahead to be looked at. But because these people working at the club of Man United are incompetent and they are appointed by the Glazers are the problem. And Ten Hag is not yet the problem for this club. When he comes to the field of play and makes bad changes, I come out and blame him. That is it. But he's not the biggest problem. The biggest problem are the Glazers. That is it. Who tells you that he cannot manage top players? Agaba William. You know, I want to use this platform to obviously teach you and school you one thing. Now, a person whom you say cannot manage top players has gone ahead to manage Casemiro. He has managed Marcus Rashford. He has managed Rafael Varane. He has managed David De Gea. He has managed Bruno Fernandes. You know. Now, which top players are you talking about? You know. And to reflect on that same point that Aga William is talking about, that Ten Hag cannot manage top players, Jose Mourinho is one of the managers that we've seen manage top class players at Chelsea. Arjen Robben, Didier Drogba, John Terry Carvalho, Deco, you know, name it, Ashley Cole and very many others at the club of Chelsea, Shevchenko and very many others, right? He came in at Manchester United. What was the same reason that was given? He cannot manage top players. Hadn't he managed them before? He went to Real Madrid. He managed the likes of the Raúls and the top quality, the Ronaldos that side. You know, he went to Inter Milan. He managed the following players: Samuel Eto'o, you know, Milito, you know, Zanetti, Javier, you know, very, very good quality players proven all over the world, and this man was obviously managing them. So, let no one lie to you that Ten Hag cannot manage top class players. He can, and the problem is the Glazers. And the Glazers want people like Agaba William to come here and blame Erik Ten Hag to be the scapegoat. And when Ten Hag is the scapegoat, they sack him and bring in another manager. Then the cycle rehappens again. That is it. So, let no one lie to you that Ten Hag is the problem. Ten Hag is not the problem, but the Glazers are the problem, because players at Man United that don't match the quality and the mentality of playing for a big club have failed to be really removed, and these Glazers don't want to obviously get them out. Ten Hag, big problem. Look at Anthony, who can't go past any defender. Sancho, De Gea and Cristiano, Saga. Now, Ten Hag is the first manager I've seen post the Sir Alex Ferguson era to manage big egoistic players. Van Gaal couldn't, you know. You remember when De Gea really came in through and obviously forced a move to Real Madrid, and it never really went in through, and David De Gea was benched. Then later, the player power took over. Jose Mourinho failed at the club of Manchester United because of the player power. You know, he couldn't kick out Paul Ebide Pogba. He couldn't kick out Anton Martial and very many other players that he felt couldn't fit his system and style of play. You know, for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, player power was really all over him. But give Erik Ten Hag credit. Kicking Cristiano Ronaldo out was good, and I love it, because the moment you allow player power to take over your club, right, you cannot prosper. All the players need to know that the manager is the boss. And Ten Hag negotiated over this when he was at Ajax, as he was in talks with Manchester United to come to Manchester United and really take over. He needed to be the boss. Now, Jadon Sancho, who came out and put out a statement that belittled the manager of Manchester United, you refer to that saga as one of the things that Ten Hag has failed to obviously go ahead and not handle very well. You know, that is it. So, to me, Alex Ferguson threw David Beckham out of that dressing room and sold him to Real Madrid because David Beckham was becoming a nuisance. Now, David Beckham is one of the most famous players that have ever gone ahead to play for Manchester United. You know that very well. But, my dear, he was thrown under the bus by Sir Alex Ferguson. Now, you mean Sir Alex Ferguson couldn't handle that, you know? So, let me tell you, it's another thing to manage a club, and it's another thing to obviously be a big problem. Now, Ten Hag is solving problems that have been at Man United for years. Trust me, if it was not Ten Hag and it was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer or any other manager, we wouldn't have gone ahead to see Ronaldo out of that club. Now, aren't you happy to see to it that Rasmus Højlund is leading the line of Man United? You know? And Sancho is also going to leave the club of Manchester United. And we will obviously be happy because other players are going to come in through, because we need players with the right mentality. Sancho has shown us that he doesn't have the mentality to come and compete for his number at Manchester United. You have to show the manager that you're really good at your job, and then everything will go on and happen. And if at all anyone is defending Ronaldo over the manager and the club of Manchester United, then you are not a fan or a supporter of Man United, because no player will ever be bigger than the club of Manchester United and the manager. If you want us to act well, we should act like Mikel Arteta. Ozil was thrown under the bus. Aubameyang thrown under the bus by Mikel Arteta. Look at how Pep Guardiola got rid of Yaya Toure. By the time Pep Guardiola came in at Man City, Yaya Toure was the most sounding player at Man City, but he threw him under the bus. Look at how he has gone ahead to treat João Cancelo. João Cancelo showed that he wants to obviously attack the manager because he was being played on the bench and Rico Lewis was obviously starting. Guess what Pep Guardiola did? He loaned him to Bayern Munich and is now at Barcelona and wants obviously to throw him on the bus. That's what the manager really wants, you know? The manager has to be having total control of those players, and that's what Ten Hag is obviously having. I'm having Jacob Anthony. Ten Hag wanted Pavard, Tobido, Disasi, Kimmich, Frankie de Jong, Harry Kane, and Osimhen, but gets none. Thank you for coming in for Jacob Anthony. You know, back the manager. After backing the manager, the rest will be history. You know, for me, I want to blame the manager when you've gone ahead to put that a conducive environment that obviously thrives his job and makes it easy, right? Thomas Donko from Ghana, thank you for watching in, my brother. It has been a while. Nelson Mwesigwa, Ten Hag also wanted Jude Bellingham, who is doing miracles today. Please, Man United board is a big problem to us. The board is the problem, and if at all you've not gone ahead to realize that the board of Man United is a problem, then you need to obviously know what exactly you think about this club of Manchester United. Ten Hag is not the problem. Ten Hag has shown us that he can work out a miracle with players that he never wanted at his club. You know, he has gone ahead to improve players like Aaron Wan-Bissaka because he had nothing to do. The club never backed him. He wanted Cody Gakpo in the January transfer window. Cody Gakpo had agreed everything, but we never had the money to bring in Cody Gakpo. Look at what Cody Gakpo has gone ahead to turn out at Liverpool. And we all believe that if at all Cody Gakpo came in January, would have gone ahead to do wonders at the club of Man United. That is it. But he never got those players. Jude Bellingham, Ten Hag wanted him, and trust me, if at all you had money, Jude Bellingham preferred to come to the Premier League other than going to Real Madrid. But because Liverpool couldn't get the money, and he never wanted to go to Man City because he believes that it's not the right project for him, United couldn't obviously get a way through to get the player. So the problem is the board. Agaba William Van Gaal had a philosophy, but Ten Hag has no. Guys, do you know why Ten Hag has not gone ahead to initiate the philosophy at Man United? In his first 2 games last season, he lost them. You get? And after losing those games, do you know what happened? Pressure was piling on him, and if at all he went ahead to lose more 3 or 4, he would have gone ahead to do the worst, and they would have gone ahead to sack him. So what he did was, let me rely on a tight defense and then be a transitional team, hitting teams on the break. And even right now, we are playing like that. Do you know why? Sofian Amrabat, who was meant to be one of the players that are really pivotal of that team in that midfield to obviously build onto the play of Man United and Rasmus Højlund, came in late. They came in late. They never took part in the preseason. Look at Arsenal. When Arsenal was traveling to USA, it had Declan Rice, it had Kai Havertz, it had Julian Timber. All their players were in the squad of Arsenal when they are traveling for their preseason. In America, United only had Mason Mount and Andre Onana. That is it. So, the philosophy of Ten Hag will come in through because we all know what type of ball Ten Ten Hag has been playing when he was at Ajax. We know exactly what he plays like. We know, and it's going to come in through. And trust me, building up that philosophy is not something that comes overnight. You know, it's something that obviously goes on and on and on, and it needs time to be built. I obviously reflect so much onto Mikel Arteta when I'm obviously trying to talk about this, the concern of the philosophy. Arteta used 2.5 seasons, but he was playing like Erik ten Hag is playing right now. He was hitting teams on the break and being one of the best transitional teams in the league. That is it. But not until it came the third season, that's when Arteta went ahead to obviously do the needful and came up with his tiki-taka, the possession-based style that he wanted at Man City. And everyone was asking himself, Arteta was with Pep. Why isn't Arsenal not playing like Man City? You know, it takes time. And finally, you are seeing Arsenal arriving there and being one of the most professional teams have gone ahead to really do the need for the club of Arsenal. So let's try to obviously take this off Erik ten Hag. It's beyond Ten Hag. It's about the board. Then I'm having Nelson Mwesigwa. Greetings from Uganda. Thank you for watching. So Thomas Donka, I don't think the problem is Erik ten Hag. I think the injuries we got so far are too much. Now, look at yesterday. Ten Hag is a manager who wants to obviously play and build from the back. One of the most press-resistant defenders in the world, and I think he's one of the technically gifted players that I've seen in this era, is Lisandro Martinez. And he's one of those players he uses to obviously start up his build-up play. He's injured. Varane is injured. Luke Shaw is injured. Sergio Reguilon is injured. Malacia is injured. Aaron Wan-Bissaka is injured. His entire back four is injured. You know? Now, how do you expect him to obviously come up with a style of play as you want it? The philosophy is going to come in through. And let me take you back to Man United. Sir Alex Ferguson never had a philosophy. Let no one lie to you. His philosophy was all about being a transitional team. That is it. Hitting teams on the break. I saw us play teams like I saw us play against teams like Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, Man City, and very many other teams. Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, and we couldn't control the game. All we could do was park the bus and hit the team on the break. And we had players like Ryan Giggs who really had individual brilliancy. You know, David Beckham could obviously pull out a moment of magic with a free kick, or obviously bring in a very good pinpointing corner, and it's headed in the back of the net. Ruud van Nistelrooy was one of the most or the best finishers in the world. You get? We had Gary Neville could put in a cross. Roy Keane could create a moment of magic. Paul Scholes could create a moment of magic. That's how the team of United was built. And Sir Alex Ferguson was not having a philosophy. Now, if anyone talks about philosophy and the team of Man United, we've only had one manager who came in through and obviously instilled his philosophy at Manchester United. That was Louis van Gaal, and was sacked. You know, United is a highly demanding team. Results are needed, and Ten Hag has to combine two things: winning and a philosophy. And I think next season the philosophy is obviously going to come in through and obviously become better, because he told us well in USA that he wants United to be the best transiting team in the world. You know, so all I want to let you know is simple. Let's obviously take it slowly and slowly and slowly, but the problem are the Glazers. I'm having Amidu from Uganda Nakasongola, tired of the Glazers. The Glazers are the problem. And if at all you don't believe the Glazers are the problem, then you're obviously going to be bitter for nothing towards Erik ten Hag. Then Agaba William, injuries, well, but Ten Hag has also failed with the dressing room. He can't cover his players, instead blaming individuals. Guys, if there is a manager I've seen cover up for the players, it's Erik ten Hag. Look at how he covered up for Jadon Sancho. You know, all of that time. Ronaldo, Cristiano, Ten Hag, every time he came in the media, he said Ronaldo is the best player in the world, best number 9 in the world, and we are working together to see that we get to where he wants to be. But behind the doors, it was cooking hot. But when he came in through in the media, he protected his players. You get? Let me give you an example that Ten Hag is one of the managers I've seen protect his players. Do you know what Ralf Rangnick did? He came out and roasted them in front of the media. After losing 4-0 to Liverpool, Ralf Rangnick said this team needs an open heart surgery. And he said 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 players need to be brought into this club of Man United, and these players need to leave because they don't have the right mentality that match the standards and the demands of the modern game. You know, Jose Mourinho could select Paul Pogba in front of the media, and Ten Hag coming out and saying that this man never trained well to fit into the squad traveling to London to play Arsenal. Was that an insult? Now let me take you to Man City, a team that won a treble last season and really equaled our record that we set in 1999. You know, when he was asked about Calvin Phillips as to why he doesn't play him, do you know the answer he gave? He said Calvin Phillips is fat. Can you imagine? He would have said that he's unfit, but he said he's fat. You think that is bad or is good or is not bad than what Ten Hag really said? Ten Hag, even yesterday when we asked about Casemiro and why he took him off, do you know what he said? I wanted more football. You know, he doesn't insult his players. You know, even when talking about Marcus Rashford, he says Rashford gets into good positions, but he needs to get better and really find himself scoring goals. That's what Ten Hag really says. So I don't believe in what people are really telling us, that it's Ten Hag not managing the dressing room is intact. Now, if the dressing room was not intact, you know, the players that won us the game yesterday are some of the players that really get least minutes this season. Alejandro Garnacho, number one player that came on through and really made things happen. He has not gone ahead to get minutes ever since the start of the game, ever since the two games against Wolverhampton Wanderers and Spurs. He has been coming off the bench, but he came in through and obviously made this change. Scott McTominay is one of the players that never featured for the game of Arsenal because he was left at Man United fully fit with Jadon Sancho, right? But he came in through and scored a brace. Now, doesn't that send a message to you that you are being told what the media wants you to hear, and you need sometimes to use your heads to obviously know what this is all about? So those are lies. That dressing room is intact. If that dressing room was not intact, yesterday was the perfect day for us to lose a third game consecutively at Old Trafford and see ourselves into the mud. 2 weeks without football, Erik Ten Hag would have gone ahead to get selected and slaughtered and roasted by that English media. But Harry Maguire creates an assist for the second goal that wins us the game. But remember, Harry Maguire is not in good books with Erik Ten Hag, meaning that Ten Hag is in control of that dressing room. Let no one spread lies that is not in control. He's in control amidst some players not really having, some players really having some issues with Ten Hag, but they are professionals. They are paid to play. That is it. Jacob Anthony, 8 managers in 10 seasons. The problem can't be the manager. That is it. The problem is obviously, we know the problem. The problem are the Glazers. That is it. Then, Red Devil Studio, thank you for watching in through. Hope you're doing well, man. I'm doing well. How are you, my brother? Then, Mansari, the problem of United is not the coaches. It's the Glazers. Now, how to solve this problem? Let our supporters in UK sanction the stadium. Let them don't buy a single ticket to watch the game. This is something hard to make because there are people who obviously dream of going in through to obviously find themselves in a position of playing of watching Man United play. Remember, tickets are really hard to get because the stadium capacitates 76,000 people per game, but we have people at the end of last season who had gone ahead to put in their bookings to obviously get the season ticket amounting to 150,000. You know, some people even plan their wedding honeymoons, you know, their dates, to propose to their lovers, you know, to come to the club of Man United. That is it. So that is really still hard. But what I know is that the Glazers are going to sell because they cannot match the demands of the team. Ten Hag himself said that we need a budget to compete with the likes of Man City. If you don't have a huge budget, you cannot obviously compete with teams like Man City that have astronomical budgets that they spend every season. Even Arsenal has gone ahead to spend huge money. For the very first time, they've gone ahead to spend £210 million in a single season. And then the Champions League again, meaning that next season they can spend £300 million to obviously make their team better and better. And does that rely on the manager? No, it's all about the top people that obviously back the manager. That is it. But one thing they've gone ahead to do is that to give Erik ten Hag the power to see to it that he rules that team, and in the dressing room to obviously see to it that we get to where we deserve to be. Red Devil Studio, I would love Qatar, but I just don't think it's going to happen. Guys, it's going to happen. They don't have the money to run this club, guys. They don't have the money. It's going to happen. You're right, but if the players down tools, the manager is on the line. The players have not gone ahead to down tools, but the problem we are having at Man United is there is what we call the spine of the team, you know, and the spine of the team has been Dalot, Wan-Bissaka, Luke Shaw on the left, Lisandro Martinez, Varane. That is it. Casemiro in the central defensive midfield area. But we are really having a very bad problem into the central defense. Let's all admit, our problem was not scoring goals, and we are getting goals in. You all agree with me. Now, the problem is, how can we stop these goals going in through? Andre Onana costing us on 3 consecutive games, right? It's something that is just in the mind. It's blocking the mind, and we need to obviously solve that. And I think this win that we got against Brentford was really good. We just need to get back from the national break, beat Sheffield, and beat Copenhagen, and then face Man City at Old Trafford. That is it. So, these players are not downing tools, but they are really having a spell they are going in through. And we look at the likes of Amrabat coming in through Rasmus Højlund, not with the preseason. These players are not going to hate to obviously know the chemistry of these players. And they are playing in some of the pivotal players on the pitch. Sofian Amrabat, for the first 3 games or 4 he played for Man United, he was played out of position. He was played as a left back. You saw him yesterday in the double pivot with Casemiro, showing you that he's obviously becoming good and good and good. What does that mean? If he links well with Casemiro, we are obviously going to be having one of the best double pivots in the world. That is it, and I think you agree with me. So these players aren't downing tools. They are not downing tools. They are not downing tools because we are having a very good squad that all what we need is the manager to do what he did yesterday. Take off Marcus Rashford, though I believe it took long to take him off. Take off Casemiro if at all he does something bad. Bruno Fernandes should also start to be taken off because he also doesn't do the needful that is required for him to be doing. That is it. So, these players aren't really downing tools. Red Devil Studio, team unity is a problem. Even yesterday, when McTominay scored, Rashford and Casemiro didn't celebrate. No, I know why they never celebrated. Do you know why? Rashford felt very bad yesterday because when he was really being substituted, the fans were celebrating and singing Viva Garnacho. That is it. You know, Sir Alex Ferguson did it to Wayne Rooney and Ronaldo multiple times. Don't you remember those games when Sir Alex took off Wayne Rooney and Wayne Rooney came off and really sat, you know, in the dugout and obviously got out his shoe and plunged it on top of his seat? That's the anger you would like. Now, I love that. I love that when Casemiro and Rashford don't celebrate because they are really looking into themselves and asking, why am I not playing 90 minutes? Yet I used to play 90 minutes. So they have to look through themselves and get to know that they are not performing to their levels. That is really good. To me, it is really good. It's really good because they now know that they need to work themselves out to really get back into the team of Man United. And this time round, we are having Sofian Amrabat, right? Kobe Menu is back. That means if Casemiro is bang average, the manager is going to be having a double pivot that can get him through everywhere he wants to be. That is it. So to me, I'm happy. Now, People talking about favoritism of Erik Ten Hag. Wait when you see Amad Diallo back. When Amad Diallo gets back, Ten Hag always wants to play with a left-footed player onto the right wing of the pitch. That is to give him width, and obviously see to it that lots of things will get created. Now, you're going to see to it that Ten Hag can bench Anthony also when Amad Diallo is flying and performing very well. You know? So, we are yet to see a transition at Man United that most of you never even thought about. So, let's wait and see how that pans out. I'm on to Sunday. Good evening, brother. How is your Sunday? Coming from Uganda. Thanks for the show. My Sunday is really good, and we are here doing the needful to obviously serve you. Then we are having Amidu. Ten Hag is good coach, but he's only one thing. He's failing to substitute but I think yesterday he did good substitutions. You know? The problem we are having at Man United is our defense is really weak because of the injuries we are obviously getting. That is it. But if at all everything really gets better and better, trust me, you're going to obviously get the needful. You see that bench is getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And I've read a story that Kobe Menu, right, Sergio Reguilon, and Amad Diallo are going to be available after the international break. That is it. Isn't that good news? Our bench is getting better and better and better. And what a way to obviously start off that next 6 games before we go into another international break around the 11th of November. Then Mahad Kisozi watching from Dubai. Jacob Anthony, I think it's difficult to play with philosophy if you don't have your choice players. Ten Hag, that is it. If you don't have your best players that you want, how are you going to instill your philosophy in? That is it. And guys, have you noticed that when we play without Bruno Fernandes and Marcus Rashford, that team really plays very well, like we played against Crystal Palace. And trust me, you remember the game of Sevilla that we drew 2-2? Rashford was really out. I think even Bruno was out. Was Bruno out even? We played very well. You know, it shows you that we are having players that cannot fit the philosophy that Ten Hag really wants to play. And when they're out, we can obviously play our ball very, very well. Jacob Anthony, Robert Bush, watching from Uganda. The only problem is commitment. Guys, I think these players are committed, but there is a spell that you need to get through. For example, like last season, Liverpool. Would you believe that a team of Liverpool would be performing like how they are performing last season? You know? But they had all the players they needed. That is it. But they wouldn't perform to the levels that everyone thought them to be performing at. And that really happens at a certain stage. And these players played a lot of football last season. You know? We played close to 65 games, and those players almost played each game. That is it. So, the commitment is there. The players are really running and running and running and running. You get? But, all we need is to see to it that we decrease the number of injuries and see these players will return, and then Ten Hag will get to where he wants to be, and the Glazers should sell this club. Then, Ben Siley, watching from St. Lucia in Caribbean. Glazers must go. Thank you for watching in from the Caribbean. Then, David Beckham. But guys, smash the like button. Smash the like button close to 50 times. Then David Beckham went ahead to add on that. On Erik Ten Hag, he said, I think he's a good coach. It's a difficult time at the moment, but there is a lot of noise around the club at the moment. So, it can't be easy for him. We all want that noise to go away and a decision to be made. So, that is it. David Beckham has been in a position like this before. He knows what the situation is like when people are calling in for the sale of the club. He knows exactly what it means. That is David Beckham for you. And let no one lie to you that it does not affect the manager. It affects the players. It affects the manager, right? And it affects even with the fans. But the problem is the Glazers. If you are to get stable and get the stability, even if the Glazers come out and really tell us that we are not going to sell the club, that will stabilize the place, and we obviously know that we are not going to get we're not going to get the Glazers out, and Ten Hag will know how to operate. But Ten Hag went into the summer transfer window expecting the Glazers to be out because the process was being worked on from November last year, and he knew that by the time we entered the summer transfer window, would have gone ahead to get a new owner to come in and obviously inject cash and do things that he wants. So David Beckham has also gone ahead to hint about it, that the problem is not the manager. Ten Hag is a good coach and is going ahead to do it elsewhere, and we should obviously go ahead and obviously give him a benefit of doubt that he's obviously a good coach. Now, Ten Hag, about yesterday, he had the following to say after the game. These games give fuel to the dressing room. In football, it is eat or get eaten. Too many times in the first half of this season, we got eaten by opponents who are more hungry. This can't be. Every player has to deliver that in every second he is on the pitch. That's what Ten Hag is telling us. And it's really great that a manager is obviously coming out and revealing to us exactly the problem of the players. The hunger needs to increase like it was yesterday, and so us obviously win this beautiful game of football. And if these players continue to be having that hunger, then we are going to find ourselves in better position of really winning more and more and more games. And if at all we minimize those errors, like the goal we conceded yesterday, Casemiro being the cause. Look at how Lindelof really clears that ball to the opponent's vicinity. Then later, it's shot at goal. And Onana allowing another stupid goal to go past him. So when you look at United, it's a combination of factors that people are really blaming to Erik ten Hag now. You think it's Erik ten Hag who told Casemiro to obviously put out a hospital pass that saw us really being countered by Brentford, yet our team was in transit from the first third of the pitch. Is it Ten Hag who told Lindelof to obviously just clear that ball sloppy like that? Is it Erik ten Hag who told Onana to obviously go ahead and obviously put out something stupid like that and not save that ball? Is it Erik ten Hag who told Andrew Onana to give out a hospital pass or a sloppy pass in the game of Galatasaray and Casemiro really got sent off? So it doesn't work out like that. It doesn't work out like that. And we need to be looking better and better as a team, as Ten Hag is calling us. And we should minimize onto the errors we make on the field of play, because in this level, every team that you play, if at all you make an error, you get punished. That is it. On Scott McTominay, he said, fabulous. When you come in with the end of the game near and you bring that mindset, that energy and that confidence, he fought for every beater, for every ball, and he was rewarded. That's what Ten Hag says. You need to fight for every second you spend on the field of play. No need to come out and not fight. You need to fight until the last minute when the final whistle is blown by the referee, and Scott McTominay got his flowers from Erik ten Hag. But to me, it doesn't change my mind. He's not supposed to be here. We need other players to obviously be into that team of Man United. That is it. So, why I celebrated that, Scott McTominay was sending a message to West Ham, Newcastle, that you are buying me £30 million and Manchester United wanted 40. Now, this is what you are missing. Now, if he continues to put out such performances, then these teams will obviously cash out the amount of money that United really wants, £40 million. And I don't see him really staying at Man United even in the January transfer window. I see him going out of this club because Ten Hag wants him out and wants him sold. Now, it's up to him to obviously utilize every second to obviously sell himself in the market to see to it that he is out of the club, because I believe he has been here and he doesn't want to obviously be a bench player again. He wants to be starting football elsewhere. Then Bruno Fernandes, the manager always says that about substitutes. Last season, we were the team with the most goals scored by substitutes, and that must be everyone's mind, and that must be on everyone's mind. I know that it's difficult to be on the bench, but McTominay came on for 5 minutes and scored 2 goals. Scott McTominay yesterday was the hero of Man United, and we all unanimously came out and gave him the man of the match. That is Scott McTominay for you, and he's doing great stuff for the club of Manchester United, and I think he was the savior on the day. That is it. Now, I'm having Ronnie Chris. I don't think the Glazers will leave our team for sure. They'll leave, guys. It's just a matter of time. The Glazers will leave. They don't have the money to take us to where we deserve to be, and a lot of things are really demanding that they cannot obviously meet. at the club of Manchester United. Then Henry J. Uganda, thanks for updating us always. My say is, if Glazers are out, Eric Ten Hag will be backed and will prove the world he's a good coach. Yeah, Ten Hag is a good coach, and what we need is to see the Glazers as kicked out of that club of Man United. Henry J. Uganda, thanks for updating us always. My say, all right, that is Henry J. Uganda. Then Pikisa Habat. This is Pikisa watching from Kampala, Uganda. My worry is United. This can't be the United we know. Should we really trust the process? We should only trust the process when the Glazers are out. But when the Glazers are still here, the process can't be cleared. You know? Unless they hire a new CEO that is going to hate to do this at a certain club that is really world class. A football director who is going to hate to do it at a level like Paul Mitchell. A technical director who is going to hate to do it elsewhere. Then Ten Hag will obviously thrive and he'll get backed and get the right talent. That, like for example, look at the players that Ralf Rangnick had gone ahead to obviously point at for us to sign. One, Julian Alves. Look at what he's doing at Man City. His cost was just £20 million. Enzo Fernandez, his price was £30 million from River Plate. You know, he recommended him to Man United. This other guy who plays for Bayern Munich, they bought from RB Leipzig. I've forgotten his name. He was played as a right back, by the way, when you're playing Bayern Munich. I've forgotten his name, but he was RB Leipzig, just gonna hit to join. He plays in the central midfield and plays as a right back. You know, he was recommended. You know, look at there is another player, Ekanji at Man City, looking good. You know, Haidara. You know, that is, and those recommendations could not even cost us like £200 million. So I think all we need are the right people at the club to make good scouting. Look at Liverpool getting McAllister for £35 million from Brighton. So Basilai, £60 million. Look at how they're really performing at the club of Liverpool. They're really looking good. You get? Lyon, can Glazers stay until 2024 without announcement on sale? I think they cannot reach the summer. That is it. The summer of 2024. They can reach January, but the summer of 2024 it's going to be hard because a lot is obviously going to be on their plate that they cannot consume. Then Chakaleka, what are our problems this time? The problem are the Glazers. That is it. Even if you get Pep Guardiola at Man United, he won't perform. Even if you get Jurgen Klopp at Man United, he won't perform. Even if you get Carlo Ancelotti, he won't perform. You know? Name any better manager at the club that is going to have to achieve very huge as far as club football is concerned. He cannot thrive at Manchester United. Jose Mourinho came in through and he couldn't win. A man who had shown us that he can go anywhere and really structure out, or figure out wins and really win the Champions League or the Premier League. But he couldn't. And he knew this Premier League, but he couldn't thrive at Manchester United. Then Chakaleka from Zambia, I'm also worried. Thank you for watching through. Then Dickens, how do we subscribe Sebo? And may I know your exact time for your daily program? I'm always late. All right, what I'm going to start to do is that with effect from tomorrow, I think we'll have something to say to you at around 15 hours. That is it. 15 hours. That's when I'm also going to be live. And I'm trying to be doing 2 lives on a daily. I'm trying to figure out my program so as to see to it that you guys get notified. Now, if you want to subscribe, go into the lower right bottom corner. There is a black button that has the word subscribe. After hitting that word subscribe, hit the notification bell, because the problem is if you don't have the notification bell on, you're not going to get notifications. That is it. So all of you that have gone ahead to subscribe to this channel and your notification bells are off, you are not going to get those notifications. That is it. So guys, thank you very much for watching through. Smash the like button, comment and share. I think we've gone ahead to have a very good say today, and I've gone ahead to talk to you guys. Thank you for always being part of this live. I'm having 2 people to deal with before I sign out. Wycliffe Order, the current United squad is okay, but they also have a management they wish to see. Obviously, they wish to see a new owner, the club of Man United. That is it. Thank you very much. I really take that, and you're really on point. You've hit the nail on its top. Then, Chris, what if the fans refuse to buy tickets? How about they cannot refuse? Because I know people in Uganda who really book for season tickets and they don't get considered. That is it. So, very many people, millions and millions of people outside there, waiting for a chance to get a ticket to go and watch a game in Old Trafford. That is it. So, thank you guys for watching it through. May the living God bless you abundantly. Rokan David remains my name. It has been a pleasure working with you and talking to you. I sign out for now. See you later. The Muslims, Barak Laufi.